Hello, and welcome to another episode of Roots and Hoots, a podcast project produced by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. Since 2020, we have been gathering, laughing, learning hard truths, and sharing in community conversations with Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island. Each episode, we learn something new, and we're excited to be sharing this journey with you. Roots and Hoots is about connecting with and celebrating Indigenous people's contributions to their fields of study, work, and cultures. We also speak with allies who share how they are furthering the work of reconciliation in Canada. To learn more about the Legacy of Hope Foundation and the work that we do, please visit legacyofhope.ca.
Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to another podcast of Roots and Hoots. I'm your host, Gordon Spence, and my guest today is Belinda Vandenbroeck. She's also known as Belinda McGilvery. Hello, Belinda. How are you today?
I'm good today. Thank you very much.
Maybe just start with telling us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and
All right.
your cultural nation.
Okay. Thank you, Gordon. Yes, my maiden name is McGilvery. I was born at Mackay Reserve, Mile 5. And I was born at home, brought into the world by a midwife. And I'm 76 years old today. And I lived at home actually until I was 9 years old. And then from there, went to residential school for 10 years.
You mentioned just now that you attended residential school. Did all of your family attend residential school, or was it just you? And
No.
Tell us a bit about your experience at residential school and how that came about.
Well, first of all, I do want to say that I have no recollection whatsoever of the day that we were taken to the train station to go to residential school. Of course, we didn't even know why we were going anywhere. So there was my sister Edna and my brother Robert, Louis, and my brother Stanley didn't come until a couple of years after the three of us went. My oldest brother Freddie went to Prince Albert Residential School. So but all of us went except my youngest brother Gordon.
Yeah.
And that day that like I said, I have no recollection of that day. To this day, I don't know who it was that made the decision for us to go to residential school. So we were there for 10 years, but I do want to talk about just a little bit about what happened when we got to the Mackay School, because I had been in a TB sanatorium for a year and a half when I was 5 years old. And actually, that's why I was here in Ottawa for yesterday's Indian Hospital's lawsuit claim. Anyway, so I was 5 years old when I went there for a year and a half. So we get to Mackay School, and the stairs are pretty steep. And on the stairs, I saw white uniforms. These supervisors, both men and women, had white uniforms. So as soon as I saw that, my sister Edna tells me this because no recollection whatsoever of it. But I certainly remember seeing them, and it's still in my memory to see but what happened after that, I have no recollection. But apparently, I did not want to get off that bus. And apparently, I fought and kicked anybody that tried to get me off the bus. And then no recollection of getting off that bus, going into the school or the first night. No recollection of that whatsoever. And then the next day, we went into the chapel. And so we were told grade 12 go to room whatever and grade 11 go wherever. So I had already been in grade 1, 2, and 3 at Mackay Reserve before going to residential school. And when they said grade 4, I should have stood up, but I was too scared. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know why we were there. And I couldn't see my brother and my sister right away because my sister was behind me and my brother was further behind as well. And so I didn't stand up for grade 4. I stayed sitting till grade 1. And so I took grade 1, 2, and 3 over again, and that's why I'm smart. Just kidding. Anyway, but that's what happened. So my memories of those very first few years, I don't remember anything. The other thing that happened was when I left, I had long hair, and my grandmother used to braid it all the time, look after it. So my hair was around to about past my waist. And I was the only girl that didn't get a haircut. Everyone else got those short haircuts with the bangs. I don't know what that was like, but it couldn't have been a very positive experience for me when everybody else's hair was cut and mine wasn't. So mine, it was cut about a month later because I couldn't look after it. I didn't know how to braid it. And my sister Edna was a teenager. She didn't really care about my hair. Anyway, yeah.
I see you have a bit of that McGilvery humor. You went to the same residential school I went to, Mackay, and it's a Ukrainian town, and there was some good things that happened there. And as we grew older, we started mingling with the people and the kids that we went to school with, and we got to be friends with them. We even lived with some of them, and we ate their food. They have a unique type of food.
Right.
And I just wanted to mention that because it is a Ukrainian town, and what's happening in the world, in the Ukraine is kind of impacting. I'm sure it impacts everybody in Canada, the Ukrainian people in Canada.
For sure. And as a matter of fact, that was one of the. So we took grade up to grade 6 in the school, in the residential school. Then we went to town after that, to Smith Jackson, and that's where I met my Ukrainian friends, and we were still friends today. I was telling him on our way here that there's 7 of us that live in Winnipeg, that lived in Dauphin at the time, and we meet each other. And that's where I got to like Ukrainian food, because I used to go home with some of the students on the weekends. Yeah.
It took a while for me to get used to Ukrainian food, actually. But now, it's kind of part of our culinary, what we eat, from time to time. Would you say that residential school had a positive impact on your life or a negative impact on your life?
Well, like I said, I don't remember a whole lot in the beginning years. It wasn't until later. And when I share my story, I say that in the beginning part of my school life, I don't recollect a whole lot of things. But as I grew, when I started going into the town school, that's when I remember more of my life at that time. At the time that I was, when I was just young and in the school, there are some parts I remember on and off. Like, for example, when we first got there, we met downstairs in the playroom, in the girls' playroom. And so we were with other girls, and they were speaking a different language, and it didn't sound like Cree. So I was trying to get close to see, what is it that they're speaking? I didn't know. I thought there was only Cree people in this whole world, So I'm trying to get close, and they're moving further away from me because they don't know who I am. And so eventually I became friends with them and understood they came from a place called, at that time, North Knife. And already they had been taken to the Churchill River, actually dumped, if you ask me, because they didn't really have any homes for them when they took them from North Knife Lake to Churchill, the shores of Churchill. So getting to know the people there, the young people. I mean, like I said, I didn't know their culture. I didn't know anything about them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Dene.
Yeah, the Dene people. It was really strange to listen to them, and but in the time that I was growing up, in the beginnings of my life there, I don't remember a whole lot of things at that time, so I can't say good or bad. I just know that I existed there. That's what we were there for, and so up to that time, and then getting into my early teen years, that's when I remember the most. And even back then, there was a lot of bullies there.
Yeah.
And there was a few of them that used to push us young girls around. But I always was able to speak out about things like that. So I would let the principal know what was happening. And so consequently, not everybody likes you when you go and let them know that, they're doing things that are not good. But I've always been outspoken in that way anyway. So, yeah, not always popular, but yeah, I didn't I didn't put up with anything even back then. Yeah.
That school had we used to had a number of activities that kept us busy other than school. Like we used to go to different residential schools and compete
Right.
in sports.
Yes.
And I kind of remember you. I was probably about 8 years old at the time, and I remember you being an older girl, and we used to have this pageant almost, and I remember your brother Stan, better known as Magoo, was a prince. He ran as a prince. You know, it was a competition, right?
Right.
So there was usually 2 or 3 boys running for the prince, and
Right.
and I think you were a princess. You were running as a princess too. I
Okay.
seem to recall, and my
See,
sister
I
as well.
don't
So
remember that. Isn't that funny? Eh?
so those.
But I do remember, what I do remember is I did run for a pageant
Yeah.
in the high school.
Okay.
See, I was never scared to try anything and
Yeah, yeah.
do anything. So I ran for Snow Queen and one. I came in second, and another time I ran for the school politics there. I ran as an independent
Okay.
for one of the secretary positions, I think. So I was involved, and I loved track and field. I was good at that. And baseball, we were good at baseball. We used to love going to Elphinstone to watch the boys play hockey, so we could meet other boys over there. Anyway, so I'll tell you a little story about that one. So Mrs. Jubb didn't like me very much.
Oh, I remember Mrs.
Mrs. Jubb, oh my God, she was anyway, she didn't like me very much because I always spoke up about things. So anyway, I said to her that just probably on a Thursday, and we were going to be going there on a Saturday or something. I said, Mrs. Jubb, I'm going to go to Elphinstone. I want to go to Elphinstone. And she says, no, you're not. And I said, what do you mean? Why? I said, did I do something? And she said, no, you're just not going. And I said, well, I don't know about that. So I go over to Mrs. Grace.
I could just see her. Yeah.
So, Mrs. Grace, I just want to tell you, you know what, Mrs. Jubb won't let me. So I'm going on and on about that. He said, okay, well, I'll do something about that. And so I left his office and he came to Mrs. Jubb. Oh, she didn't like me at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did get to go to Elphinstone.
There's a poster like right behind you. It's called Channy Wenjack.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's that's a story about him when he was in residential school and he ran away and he froze on the way home. So when I was in residential school, you were probably there at the time too, but they showed us a film one time, and the only film they ever showed us was this film about this kid that ran away, but it was a different character.
Oh, okay.
I think it was based on this guy though. And it was a film about this kid who was in residential school, and he died on the way in the middle at night, I guess.
Yeah.
Along the tracks. So I just and it's the only film they ever showed us. I guess that was to discourage us from ever trying to run away, but many kids ran away. After that, it was almost a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
There's a story about my cousin who ran away, him and 3 other guys. He made it all the way to Split Lake, and only to sleep one night, and the next day they came and got him and took him back to the residential school. Like, took him about a week to get home. And, but so many people so many students that ran away, never made it home.
Exactly.
Died on the way home or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And would we even ever know about them? So it's really, the whole subject of the residential school's history, it is so disheartening, disappointing, heartbreaking. Number one, who was the government anyway to think that they had the authority to take the Indian out of us? Like how blatantly such I can't, it is so, it bothers my mind, and I can't say the words here that I want to say about that. So to think that I'm going to be better off being somewhere else with strangers, I had no idea who they were. They didn't know me. I didn't know why I was there. And to think this happened to us for 100 years.
160 years.
160.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
This is our history. And all of Canada needs to know
They
this
didn't
history.
know this. They didn't know this.
And like one of the ladies was saying, little did she know that the husband she became to be a wife to went to that school, and she was on the other side of the street.
Oh, yeah.
And then later years they
Yeah.
got married in their
Yeah.
adulthood. But just knowing that, because what that did to us as human beings is that they totally changed our minds about who we are and how to feel about ourselves. And I said that yesterday in that Indian hospitals, what we were talking about that, because they were doing the same thing just even in the hospital, never mind the residential school. So here we are, we have to hate who we are because the Christian philosophy says we're sinners and that we are working, doing the work of the devil and being evil in practice, in living, not even practicing, living our way. This is our life. This is ours. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Christianity belonged to the white people because they came from another country. That's theirs. Yes, I know that today many of our people are still believing in the Christian way. I have a difficult time with that. And that's my opinion. And I don't care what anybody thinks about that. That's my opinion. How can we continue to be so, I don't know, in love with this philosophy of being born a sinner? I am not a sinner. But when you hear that for 150 years, what do you think that does to all of us? Yeah. So today, and I've spoken a couple of places already to residential school survivors just last week, what are you teaching your children? What are you teaching your grandchildren today? Are you teaching them about who they are and to be proud of who they are? Or are you teaching them they're sinners? And how do you think they're going to grow up? And why do you think we see 12,000 children in care in CFS? Because the family doesn't know who they are. The mother doesn't know anything about her culture. The mother, her mother doesn't know, and the grandmother probably went to residential school, so has no idea what to teach her daughters.
These are ongoing impacts.
Ongoing impact. It's still here today. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what your work in healing, in the area of healing. You worked with the Wabang
Abenujak
organization for several years.
Yeah.
Facilitating healing workshops. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, let me just say that I have been sober for 50 years, like that's 5-0, because somebody said 15. I said, no, 5-0. Anyway, so I've been sober for 50 years. I've been on my healing journey for that long. And what got me, and I didn't realize this, but in the program, I'm not supposed to say the two letters out loud, but we do a step 4 and a 5. Okay, so I did my step 5. I wrote my step 4, did my step 5 with a priest. And little did I know that when I went to share to give up all the things I had written on step 4, little did I know I was already beginning my healing journey. Okay, I didn't know that. So later on, my life really took a turn. I went to 1976. I quit drinking in 75, did my step 5 within 6 months of my sobriety. 76, I went to Nietzsche Training Institute to get training on addictions. Okay, Alberta, yeah, with Eric Shirt. So at that time, I went there to take the training. I went to ask my the ED of the addictions program in Churchill, and I said, "Is there a program anywhere in Canada where it's Indigenous led?" And she said yes, and so she gave me the information on Nietzsche, and so I made my plane reservations, my hotel reservations, and off I went. Took my training there, and it was a wonderful experience. But that's when I woke up to who I am. So here's what happened. So first day of the training, we're downstairs in the basement like this and sitting in a circle. So we're all there and we're all new to each other. We don't know each other because we're from all over. And then shortly after, an elder walks in with a helper. And so in that circle, there was something in the middle. I didn't know what it was. And so it was Elder Abe Burnstick. So he says to the young fella, he says, "Go ahead and light the smudge." And the only smudge I knew about was smudge pots outside our house to keep mosquitoes out, remember, in the summertime. It's the only smudge I knew. Yeah. Anyway, so the young fella lit the smudge. And as soon as that first puff of smoke came up, it was like somebody just hit me in the gut. And I'm looking at that. I thought, "Oh, I know where that came from." I'm thinking in my head, like I was just shocked, like face out loud, Anyway, so I'm looking at that and I'm smelling, and I said, "Oh, I know where I smelt that. I know where I smelt that." It was just music to my stomach and my feelings.
Was that sweetgrass?
Sweetgrass at the time. And you know what? Usually a smudge is sage. Mm-hmm. Most times, 90% of this time it was sweetgrass. I don't know why, but it was. Yeah. And that was the smell I smelled at Grandpa Hector Spence's house. Right. But I didn't know that, and I didn't know what it was.
I had a similar experience.
Yeah, because he couldn't tell us. They couldn't talk to us about what they knew and what they did. Yeah. So anyway, so after that, it just really woke me up. That was my wake-up call, my epiphany, I call it. And so after that, there was a place that you could go dancing every night, a sober place in Edmonton, and I'm a dancer, like I am a dancer. I love dancing. Anyway, I didn't go to the dance, not once. I sat with Abe Burnstick every single night in my room, just wanting to know everything that he knew. I was so enthralled by him. And I want to share this about Abe Burnstick because people still say that our traditional ways are evil and all that garbage. Anyway, so Abe Burnstick shared a story. 2 weeks before he came there, he had been in a sweat. A white lady had come to see him about her son, and her son was born with no feelings from the waist down, so he couldn't walk, had to be lifted all the time. She took him to all the best hospitals in the world. She was rich. She was from Edmonton. And somebody must have said, if you've tried everything else, why don't you go and see a medicine man? So she got hold of Abe, and they did a sweat every day for 2 weeks. The mother, the little boy, and Abe and his helper, every day. I don't remember how long in the day or whatever, but 2 weeks after that, that little boy crawled out of that sweat lodge and was running. And he had been born with no feelings from the waist down. So our medicines are very powerful, and a true medicine man will never ever take credit for that, because he knows that was Kisemantu that worked through him to bring healing to that little boy. And we still have those. I'll just finish a little bit more on the Wabanga, but the healing. So the healing journey in my life started at that time. That's 50 years now. So I made it my business to know and learn anything that I could. So I've read lots of books. I've been to conferences. I've done whatever I need to do to learn anything about energy, anything like that. So anyway, so that has been my life's work, is healing. So I've had healing gatherings over the years already. I did the first workshop. I know I'm the first one that did a workshop in Winnipeg in 1993 on the effects of residential schools. Okay, so I did that. And the people that walked out of my workshop were the Christian Aboriginal people. Totally walked out because they didn't want to hear anything I had to say about the churches and what the churches did to our mind emotionally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually. Mm-hmm.
You also went back to university when you were 45 years old. Mm-hmm. You got Bachelor of Arts degree. What inspired you to go back to school at that time?
Well, first of all, I did like school. I really enjoyed learning. My grade 4 teacher was my mentor in my life until she passed in 1995. But she made education very interesting. And as a matter of fact, because I'd already done grade 1, 2, and 3, so I knew a little bit about grade 4, but by the time I got there. Anyway, so she asked me to help her. So I was a helper in her class many, many times. But learning and wanting to learn more and more, it was very to me the gift of wanting to learn is a wonderful gift. Like if you can open your mind to just anything, read a book in one day, anything. Learning was very important for me, and so. But from that to go to university, see, I left school, except I got pregnant in grade 10, so I didn't go back. Otherwise, I would have. So it was always my desire to continue. And so I was 45 when I went back, and because I love school.
Where did you go?
U of M.
Okay.
Yeah, I took Native Studies and psychology.
Yeah. You also sat on the board of directors of the Addictions Foundations of Manitoba for a couple of years. Tell us about this organization and your experience there.
Well, first of all, before AFM, I sat on the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority for 5 years, and that was an experience in itself, which could take at least a couple hours if I was to share that. But anyway, AFM, Addictions Foundation, the community, they get to know who you are. Yeah. They know your history, and it was the government that suggested my name to sit on that board. At that time, Eric Robinson was there, Oscar Laughlin, and I know them well. George Hicks was the Speaker of the House at the time. So they put my name in to sit on that board. Yeah. And it was, what was interesting, you see, because what we need to know is that many of these systems are colonial systems that don't understand our way of thinking and believing. So at one of the board meetings, I said, I think if you would let me, I said to Ben, poor guy who drove him crazy sometime. But anyway, I said, Ben, would you let me come in and speak and talk to the women in the program? I want to talk to the women in the program. And if I can do, say, a 1 or 2 day workshop on how to love yourself and to know who you are, to love who you are, and to bring you. Anyway, too colonial, couldn't do it. I said I would even do it for free, for heaven's sake. Anyway, didn't let me. So, but from there, when you're on the top level like that, sitting as a board member, there really is not a whole lot of decisions that are made that would affect any numbers of people in that way, because that organization still has to work under the government. It doesn't matter. Like I can have all kinds of thoughts, but they still have to follow the rules of the government. Okay, so to me, I never made any difference sitting there, So I didn't finish. I could have sat for 3 years, and that's it, 2 years. So I left there, but if they would just let people like me who know about healing. They don't know about healing. All they know is to give information to the clients. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And you might have some counseling, but you know what? Our counseling is still very different from Western thinking counseling. Yeah. It just is. Yeah.
What about these? You're a co-founder of Clan Mothers Healing Village. Is that based in Winnipeg? Is this still going on?
Yes, it is. And actually, I met Elder May Louise Campbell probably about 30 years ago. They lived out in St. Laurent area. For many years they were out there, and she used to have women gatherings there, women healing gatherings.
Yeah.
And so from there, they did it every year. And then just recently, a few years ago now, they began to put together the Clan Mothers Healing Village, really working at finding funding to build the healing village. And the village is out at Bel Air in Highway 59. It's about an hour's drive east of Winnipeg. Right now, there's 3 complete buildings there. It's going to be a beautiful place. And for the last 3 years now, we've had moon dances. So she felt that from her spirit that there had to be ceremony for women, not just for men to do the sun dance, okay? So she always had that inkling there. It's got to be something. Anyway, so she put together the moon ceremony, totally listening to her spirit. She's very tuned into her spirit. Yeah. So she began, so that's 3 years now. It'll be coming forth this year. But the land itself was given to them by the sisters at Marymount. Okay, yeah. So it was 167 acres, and they only had a few buildings in there that they used to, the Marymount School for Girls. Yeah. So they used to take the girls there in the summertime when it was still running under their program. Yeah. Okay, so then they gave that land to the Catholic Church, gave that land to Clan Mothers. Yeah. So now they have 167 acres there, and the land where it goes down to Lake Winnipeg is absolutely beautiful in there. The road is done already, beautiful big road. So there's more fundraising that needs to be done, but it's a beautiful place.
So this is the Clan Mothers Healing Village you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
just outside of Winnipeg?
Just outside of Winnipeg. There really is no programs as such until it's finished.
Right. It sounds like you've done a lot of work around healing and supporting others in their healing journeys. Are you retired now or semi-retired? What's next on your horizon?
I'm not sure I know what retired means. But anyway, I know. But yeah, so like I said, I'm 76. I'm still very, very involved in the healing process of our lives because we are the only ones that can do that. So my life is, probably 90% of my life is about healing. Last October 19th, I put together a workshop called Gathering of Love Warriors. Now, the eagle represents love. And so in that one day, it wasn't just sitting there about learning how to love yourself kind of thing. That was more like towards the end. But anyway, so the people learned a lot of things before we got to that part. For example, the pineal gland, just a little thing back here. That pineal gland, say if you had to look at it like this. So around 10 o'clock, that pineal gland starts to do the work it's supposed to do in our body, okay? So if you're not sleeping till 2, 3 in the morning, it hasn't got to do what it needs to do because you're still wide awake.
Yeah.
You need to be sleeping. So when it doesn't fulfill what it's supposed to do to your body, that's when you start to get sick. Yeah. And so learning about that and learning that, part of loving yourself is to go to bed early, to have a good rest and to sleep well and
keep
all of that.
Well, yeah.
So there was a lot of other things like that they had never learned. But it definitely they need to know that in order to get to where they can love themselves. So what are the things that stood in the way, that stand in the way today? What are the beliefs that you believe that stand in the way of truly loving yourself? Because what they don't know, and what most Indigenous people don't know, and other human beings, is that we're born pure essence of love. We are not born sinners. That was written by a man. Men, whatever. You don't teach things like that if you want a good world to live in. Why do you think there's so much hatred today in life? So when you're born pure essence of love, because we come from Gusemantu, like I said before, we don't come from the ribs of man. That's another country's teaching. Yes, our people have, adopted that as part of their life, but that's not who we are.
Right. So
knowing that you come from Gusemantu, the nanosecond, like I said yesterday in that video, that you're consummated by your mother and your father, the spirit from Gisemantu enters that, and you begin your life. If you don't have spirit, you're dead. You're not here.
Yeah. People today are talking. You hear the word reconciliation often, and we're trying to make this world a better place, our country a better place to live, and create a better understanding, among the indigenous, non-indigenous people, and also people come here from other countries. So we're trying to make this country a better place for everybody to live in harmony. And the word reconciliation is the word that's been used a lot in trying to get this better understanding happening. Mm-hmm. What is your feelings on reconciliation? What kind of message would you deliver to people in general?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like I said, as human beings, we are born with spirit. What we don't understand is why we have spirit and how to live from that, because it wouldn't matter what country you came from. If you know how to live from spirit, from Gisemantu, a God as you understand it, from wherever you are, you could not hurt other people. You see, because racism, the way that I see racism, is that a self-hatred.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how and why would you spew negative things if you're not feeling negative in there? Because that's your negativeness, not mine.
Yeah.
Not mine, and I would never accept that. So learning, first of all, you have to know our history. We are the first people of this country. Every one of us, every Indigenous person in Canada and even in the States, the Native Americans there, you need to know where we come from.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't come from the ribs of man. That came later with the white people that came here. And not only that, but it was the men that came here to our country, of my ancestors and your ancestors, accepting them into our land, into our country, helping them how to live here and survive here, okay? So then they're coming in with only one purpose, and that was get the furs. And our people don't think in terms of 10,000 pelts. You just don't do that.
Yeah.
That's disrespecting Gisemantu just big time, because they knew and they know now too that you only take what you need.
Right.
You don't take 10,000 pelts and ship them off to the Queen of England. Yeah. And make Hudson Bay rich, because that was the only reason why they were here. But anyway, so our ancestors are living their lives. They're doing their sweat lodge. They're doing their sundowns. They're doing their rites of passage. They're living the way that Gisemantu showed them how to live. That's why we're different. Yeah. We are different in terms of our thinking and living and feeling, because we are given that spirit from Gisemantu. That's where we come from. So whether you hate somebody or not today, you still have spirit, and you're using that in a wrong way. It's not the right way.
Yeah.
Okay? So then so they're living their lives, they're doing whatever, and these now white people are looking at them and going, what the hell is that? Why are they doing that? How come they're sweating lots when they come out of there? And what, are they crazy? Why are they, don't drink and eat for 4 days? What's the matter with them? So it's totally about judgment. Okay? And therein lies the problem. From that time of our history, for them to say, what are they doing? Oh, you know what? You're doing the work of the devil. You're evil people doing what you're doing. So how long does that take place in your mind for you to believe it? Did it take 20 days? Did it take a month, a year, 10 years? Like somewhere along the way, Gordon, our people turned on themselves. They began to believe that lie. It is a lie today. And it's hard to undo that, because we've been conditioned for how long? 500 years now? Okay, so how do you undo that? I will do whatever I can every single day to undo that with somebody, anybody. I have to teach young people that. That's my role. To carry on the rites of passages, this young lady here, when she was little, no, it was Michaela, was it that was first? I told my sister that she had to have the walking out ceremony as part of her rites of passages. So then now her and her sister are both, they have two, Michaela 2 and you 3. So their children all had the walking out ceremony. Yeah. Because that's my role. That's what I'm here for, is to fulfill that role.
Well, thank you very much, Belinda. I've been talking to Belinda Vandenbroeck. Thank you so much for doing this, taking the time to do this. I know you're flying back today, and you kind of squeezed us in this afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Get an ask them in.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I learned something every time I talk to somebody like you.